Question 42, how does NLP tie in with mental health? So some of you will be aware of a service called CAMS, which is the Child and Adolescent Mental Health Service. This is the service that a parent would be referred to if they perhaps had a young person who was suffering some form of mild, moderate, or even severe mental health disorder. So it could be something like anxiety or low self-esteem, for example, that was disrupting their life. So the GP would refer them on to CAMS, and through CAMS there's a range of different therapies that they would have been able to access. That could be art therapy, CBT, which is cognitive behaviour therapy, and a whole host of others. Now, CAMS is in the middle of a kind of redesign at the moment, so I believe in some areas of the country it doesn't exist anymore. Where I live it still does, but that may well change by the time you're watching this video. There is currently not any NLP available via the NHS, and that's partly because NLP is not a regulated industry. So as an industry, it's just the guidelines that we follow are very flexible, and the way in which we evaluate tends to be flexible too, and that's not ideal in some cases. What's different about NLP for kids is that actually we do have quite clear guidelines around how you do what you do, how you deliver it, and how you evaluate it afterwards. And we've done that on purpose because we want to be more credible than perhaps some of the other NLP professionals that you could come across out there. So in terms of how NLP ties in with mental health, on a I guess on a level whereby we are comparing it to things like CBT, there are some practical elements that are similar and certainly work quite nicely with each other at times, and it's also viewed in a very different way. The reason why people come to us is because NLP is an alternative way of doing things. So really it falls under the alternative medicine and alternative help banner. The reason why people look for an alternative is because quite possibly what they've already accessed did not work for them, or the practitioner that they had wasn't quite the right fit for them, and they didn't have a choice. They were only offered that one person, and it was kind of take it or leave it. So very often the clients that we work with have had access to some other services before they got to us, but for whatever reason it didn't quite fit for them. In terms of the sorts of mental health challenges that we might work with, and apologies for the very noisy children in the background, the mental health challenges that we work with tend to be on the mild to moderate end of the mental health spectrum. It's unlikely that someone would look to a service such as ours for something which is much more severe, and if they did, then I would recommend that they probably look elsewhere, particularly, you know, if they need some support in the way of being medicated, for example. So, you know, we just have to be mindful and savvy about how we're doing what we do and how we use what we do with people, and know when to refer it on to somewhere else. That's equally important as well. I think I digress from the question, but you get the idea. Question 43, do we ever get referrals from GPs? Yes, sometimes, but it will be as a result of you building up individual relationships with those GPs and maintaining those relationships such that when they have someone that comes to see them, and perhaps it's one of those people that says, I've been to see the counsellor that you told me to see, I've taken the tablets that you told me to take, what else can you offer me? So if you have a personal relationship with a GP, it may well be that they'll become a good advocate for you and say, actually, I've met this person from NLP for Kids, and I think that they could help you or they could help your child, so I would recommend making contact with them. So you're not going to have referrals from GPs via the NHS. It is a route that we've looked into in the past for a very specific group of young people, and I'll tell you more about that when I meet you and why it was that we decided not to move ahead with that in the end. But it's not to say you can't ever get referrals from GPs, it's just about building up the right relationships with them to make that possible. Question 44. Does NLP for Kids HQ set the fees that you charge? No, it doesn't, but we do have some minimal amounts that we would like you to adhere to. So most of our practitioners charge upwards of £65 per session. The average amount is, I think, £120 if we added together everybody. The most expensive practitioner second to me is, and I'm talking about an hour session here, is I think £180 roughly. So it's going to be influenced by the area in which you live and work. It's going to be influenced by the niche that you want to work in. It's going to be influenced mainly by your confidence to ask for it, and how well you position yourself in the market as well. You know, if you want to be seen as an expert who can command a higher fee, then you're going to have to interact in a way that sets you above the other people that are out there doing something similar. So you might want to think about writing a book or writing a regular blog or doing something that positions you as an authority in this area. So we do not set the fees for you, but we will give you some guidance, and we will put some minimum amount in place as well that we would ask you to adhere to.